here, honey.
And welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Happy Monday, everybody. It is 6 o'clock on Monday evening, and you know what you normally do about this time. You listen to Real Talk with Trip Washington. That is me, and I am very happy to have you in studio with me tonight. By the way, we are streaming live on YouTube, so if you are watching this, or you're in the back computer where you can watch, go to YouTube. We're streaming live right now, and I'm also going to share the show once it's over on my Facebook page, so you can actually see it here. But if you miss it now, you can actually catch it later on my Facebook page. So, you know, technology, you know, it's a good thing. You know, nice background here and everything, and you know, we're in pretty good shape. As we always do, we want to start the show out by hoping that you had a good weekend from the last week till we saw you to this week. We hope that you had a good week, that everything was safe and that you're safe. And speaking of that, we're going to talk about what happened this morning in just a few minutes. But I hope you had a good weekend, and as always, if you're celebrating a birthday, anniversary, or just a special, special day, you know, check us out. And I mean, not check us out, I'm sorry, I was looking at something. But happy birthday, happy anniversary, all the good stuff, and all the best wishes to you and yours. And I look at Facebook every day, and I see folks celebrating their birthday with no shame in their game. I like that as well. So I hope that today turned out to be a good day after the big storm. And actually, talking about the big storm this morning, according to the weather forecasters, we had an EF1 tornado blow through east Memphis this morning. And boy, did it blow through. There was damage all over the place. We had over 44,000 people without power at one point this morning. Right now, I think the number is a little under 20,000, but still thousands of folks without power at this hour. So if you know somebody who is dealing with that situation, please check on them, make sure that they're okay. If there's some elderly folks involved, please check on them and make sure that they're okay as well, because it may take another day or two to restore all power. Treat four-way stops, will treat actually intersections where the lights and the power is out as a four-way stop. Just be kind to each other, okay? Let's take it easy. We're all trying to get to our own destinations safely and in one piece. So, you know, just show a little patience. As they say, pack a little patience, because it's going to be a couple of days before we can get some signals going. Cottonwood got hit pretty hard. Well, actually, this started in Arkansas, and the little town of Turanza, Arkansas was pretty much leveled this morning. And I mean, still just damage everywhere. I think there were 1 or 2 deaths maybe involved in that. None here that I'm aware of. But again, over 40,000 people, about 44,000 people without power at the peak of the storm. 65-mile-an-hour wind gusts roared through this city, and it was pretty scary. And the bad part about that, even the worst part about it, was it happened during rush hour. A lot of people were heading to work this morning right about that time. Hello. And you know, you get caught up in the situations like that. But I'm very happy to say that I'm doing good. We didn't lose power at my house, but I know a lot of folks did. And like I said, we're gonna pray for you, and we're gonna pray that that power gets back on quickly and without you know, too much more of a delay. Some other news and notes. We mourn the sudden passing I heard this afternoon. Former State Senator Reginald Tate passed away today. He was 65 years old, and you know, he lost his seat last year after 12 years serving in the Tennessee legislature. I knew him as a good man. He was a good man. He was a kind, decent man, human being, and he was a great legislator. He cared about his city, he cared about his county, and he cared about his constituents. So my heartfelt prayers go out to, condolences go out to his family, friends, and of course his colleagues in the Senate. Reginald Tate, 65 years old. Also, in some of my news and notes here, you know, we always talk about a couple of major headlines. Centoya Brown Long. Centoya Brown, remember her, the young lady who was imprisoned at 16 for killing a man, and she was basically a sex trafficking ring, drug ring, and things like that back in the day when she was a very, very young girl. She was arrested. She spent 15 years in the penitentiary, and she recently was. Okay, I'm sorry. She spent 15 years in the penitentiary, and before he left office, former Governor Haslam gave her clemency, and so she's been out now for about, I guess, about a month or so, I guess. And last night she was in town. She spoke at Stacy Spencer's church last night in front of a packed crowd. This is the first time that we've seen her since she's been released from prison. She is married now, and she basically talked about how she transformed from a sex trafficking victim to now an advocate. And she said that during the days that she was incarcerated, she prayed to the Lord every single day. And at some point or another, she started to wonder. She said that she spent 15 years in prison. Her faith was tested, and a lot of times you want to give up. God works in His time, not our time. We all know that. He does things when it's time, when He feels it's time, not when we feel it's time. And that was kind of what she was feeling. But she started to get angry. But then she said that she did everything He told her to do. She prayed every day, and she just kept waiting and waiting. And she said after about 10 years, things started to change, and her attitude started to change, and I think, upon her attitude started to change and understanding things a bit better, then comes the clemency. So she's out of prison, and she's married. She seems very happy right now. She wants to be an advocate, basically to say that, you can have a down time in your life. You can have a downslide in your life. Things can go negative for you, but you know what? They can also go positive as well. So, you never, ever, 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 ever give up, no matter what the situation and circumstances are. And so, we praise her for that, and we hope that she will be able to go out all across the country. I understand she has a book out now as well, and just to be able to talk to young ladies who have been in situations and circumstances, to let them know that their circumstances do not define them, that they can rise above and rise high above. So we're very, very happy for her. I'm really very, very pleased to see her, and that she looks good, and that it's going to be a bit of an adjustment, but she seems to be adjusting well to being back under normal circumstances. Also, and one last story, my guest is here, Beverly Robinson. Y'all know Beverly. We're going to talk to her in just a minute, because as a very busy lady, she's given me a few minutes of her time, and I'm so very, very pleased and happy to do that. She has chosen to do so, because I've had a crush on her like forever. But back to my headlines. I don't know if many of you heard that Bluff City Law, big show that they're shooting here in Memphis. The producers have decided to stop production of the show. They are working on their 10th episode right now, and once they finish that episode, sometime the next week and a half, that's going to be it. Now, they were initially given a 16-week, 16 shows. They were slated for 16 shows. They're going to show up to the 10th episode, and then that's it for right now. Now, the network has not stated that the show has been canceled, but there is not going to be any more production. Once they leave here in a couple of weeks, they're going to be gone until, who knows. And the question is, on the back end, will they come back? Will they allow them to finish out the season? Will they be renewed? Those are questions that we just have no answers to right now. But let me just explain how all this goes. This is all about ratings. It's not about anything Memphis did. This is about people watching the show. Now, you may be saying to yourself, I watch the show every week. I like the show. I think it's a pretty good show. It's not about you. We have a whole country out here. We have 50. This is a national program. So while we may support the show here in Memphis, other folks may not support it as much as we do. And that has a direct bearing on ratings. And that's what networks look at. They look at numbers, they look at ratings, because those numbers translate into advertising dollars, and that's what it's all about. It's about a big money business. So we don't know what the fate is of Bluff City Law. Personally, I think it's a pretty good show. I don't think it's too bad. You like it, Bill?
I do too. I love it.
It's a good show. Yeah, so we'll just kind of keep our fingers crossed, and hope that things will go well. I'm going to forsake my break right now, because I do have, as I said, a very special guest, Beverly Robinson. All of us know her. She is legendary, and her husband in this town, Howard. Hello, Howard. And of course, she ran the National Civil Rights Museum wonderfully for how many years?
17.
17
Long
years,
time.
executive director of National Civil Rights Museum, and of course, it is one of our show places in this town still, even today.
Absolutely.
She is right now. She has assumed the title of the president and CEO of the Memphis Chamber of Commerce, and I'll formally introduce my very good friend, Ms. Beverly Robinson. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Chip. Anything you ask me to do, I'm going to always try to do it, because you have always been not only a great citizen of this community, but a brilliant young man who has always tried to do the right thing, and who's always been a great business mind, have always had a great business mind. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Oh, I feel so good about that. And the good part about, okay, this is the archive now, so see, I can go back. So when I have a bad day, Ms. Beverly said something nice.
You listen.
That's right. So let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, obviously, you assumed this role. It was something that you didn't aspire to. It was based on a tragedy. Phil Trineri was tragically killed about a year or so ago. They came to you and said, would you please help us out? And the interim title didn't last long, because they knew, as we all know, that if you're in charge of it, it's going to be okay.
Absolutely.
So it's been about a year.
Yeah, about 10 months.
Yeah,
almost a year. You're absolutely right.
Almost a year. So tell me, I guess, how have things been for you? I know it's been a big challenge. There's a lot going on in the city. We'll talk about that in a minute. But in terms of you stepping into this situation, the challenges you faced, what have you seen?
It's a really interesting situation. I think I didn't know what to expect when I came, because being the first African American and the first female in the 182-year history of the organization, you've got to imagine that you're going to have challenges and obstacles that you would have to overcome. The beauty is that so many of the business leaders that I work with today are folks that I worked with when I was at the National Civil Rights Museum. So they actually understand how I work, and they understand that I have a heart for Memphis. I have a heart for the community. I have a heart for people who are marginalized and disenfranchised.
Yes, you do.
And the reality for me is, from this position, I will have a chance to impact the lives of so many people in Memphis in ways that I might not have had that opportunity when I was in corporate America, or as an entrepreneur, or working at the National Civil Rights Museum. Because we're actually doing things that will upskill people, get them in the employment pipeline so that they can get a job.
You've always talked about that, about uplifting folks, and I think that's really been kind of a challenge in this city. Really, we have we talk about the poverty rate and some of the things, that some of the great challenges that we have as a city. But you came into this saying, you know what, we can overcome that, and this is how we need to do it.
Absolutely. And what I decided was that we ought to really put in motion some folks who have not been activated or engaged in this space at all. So when I came to the chamber, I got a call from a minister in East Memphis who wanted to come and talk to me. And we had lunch, and he said, I want to know what your vision is, Beverly, for Memphis. I just need to know what your vision is and what you're going to do at the chamber. And so I started talking about the vision that I had for it. And one of the things I talked about was a workforce summit, where we could upskill 10,000 people for jobs in the Memphis marketplace.
Wow.
And he said, I'm glad to hear you say that, because we, as a group of ministers, have decided to put our money together and do something to upskill people in the marketplace for jobs. He said, but if you're doing it at the chamber, we're going to join you. So for the first time in the history of the chamber, the community of faith is going to be engaged in this summit in meaningful ways.
I was going to say, not just words, but action following the words.
Absolutely, absolutely. And they're excited because they say they've never been asked.
So now that's interesting in and of itself. So, we always use the church as our refuge, and when things happen, we want to run to the church, and we always want to say, okay, what are the churches doing? What are the churches doing? What are the pastors doing? But you are, and I know you to be a woman of action, not just words. If they say it, you're going to make them follow through with what they say.
They have done a beautiful job. Let me tell you some of the things that they've done. First of all, this summit kicks off tomorrow which is interesting, with the first phase of it,
Okay.
where we're bringing in a guy from the Brookings Institute to begin to talk about how technology is going to be impacting all business. And we'll have community of faith representatives there. They'll be in a session. We'll have people who deal with education and technical training there.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be aligned, and we'll have people who deal with opportunity youth and people who deal with ex-offenders. All of those service providers are going to work together to develop a plan to tell us how they are going to upskill their work. And so what we'll leave with is champions of each one of those areas who will meet with these people on a quarterly basis, and these folks are developing plans that they have metrics associated with. So if you generated 100 people for the workforce last year in your organization,
Right.
how do you generate 300? And what do you need to be able to do that?
Right.
Because when you're talking about 10,000 people, we can't do it 1 or 2 at a time.
That's true.
We got to get loads of people in the pipeline and get them trained and skilled up. And at the end of the day, put them in the pipeline that works them into a job that pays a good living for them, so they don't have to be out committing crimes. We don't have to have people continuing to live in poverty, because if you got a skill, we've got 15 to 21,000 jobs for which there's no skilled talent right now in the marketplace.
That's an amazing number. So is there some sort of I know with you there's always a timetable, so I know that you sort of clock this out.
Yes.
Okay, we start this thing tomorrow, maybe what is it, 6 months down the road?
Okay, I'll tell you.
What are you looking at?
We think that depending on the skills you are trying to gain,
Right.
it will take between 12 and 24 months. Now, some people are going to be able to get certifications in certain areas in 6 months.
Okay.
Some will be able to do it in 12 months. But we're talking about the whole 10,000 that will be upskilled. You know, it may take about 24 months for some. If they want to do aircraft mechanic and work for FedEx, they might have to go into an internship program,
Right.
working with FedEx directly, and then at the end of it, get a job. So it might take them a little bit longer to do it. But at the end of the day, if you go into that kind of program, you're making $60,000 to $70,000 a year with full benefits. So we're talking about
It's a major thing.
skilling people up
Yeah.
for jobs.
10,000 you said.
10,000, we're gonna skill them up. They gotta, because some people come and they might have a high school education.
Right.
Even if you have a high school education, there's something you can do, because the truth of the matter is, we got all kinds of technical programs, vocational programs that people can go into with More Tech and Tennessee Tech.
Right.
And when you get out of those don't take 2 or 3 years. Those may take 18 months.
Right. Right.
But you're upskilled for a job where you can either go into business for yourself or you can work with a contractor. But you've got a skilled trade and you've got certification. So you can make great money. If you decide to become an entrepreneur, you become an entrepreneur. And you can lead your own business and have your own life and make your own money that way. But there are a number of skilled trades. Construction people can't find enough HVAC operators out here in the marketplace. I mean, they just can't.
Wow.
So we've got
Talk about
opportunity.
skill, training them up, like
Yeah.
you said, training them up.
Skill them up.
Skill them up. So do young people, in your estimation, do they feel challenged? Do they feel defeated? Do they feel like really no one's paying attention to their needs? I know you study this. I know you, and I know you study this pretty carefully. What do you see with our young people dynamics in terms of
Well, I think because we are literally navigating a totally new normal, we haven't seen what we're seeing now, where technology is taking over
Right.
so many of the responsibilities. So many young people come that have maybe some very basic kinds of technical skills. But what they are going to have with artificial intelligence and robotics coming online and all of the digitization that exists or will exist in the future, we need to build on that skill set. And I think many people don't even know where to begin.
Right.
They don't know what they don't know. And so what we've got to do is educate them. Because if they've been out and on the corner or, working a minimum wage job for most of their careers, they don't know where to start talking about, how do I get upskilled? What is available for me? So we've got to tell them, and then we've got to train them for what exists in the marketplace. So when I tell you that I think the position that I sit in today has an opportunity to change and transform Memphis, I mean that sincerely.
Right.
Because if we're serious about putting people to work and training them and giving them the skills for a good job that allows them to take care of their families, then we're giving them hope and we're giving them a life.
That's a very, very, very big deal. Just in case you tuned in just now, Beverly Robinson, the president and CEO of the Memphis Chamber, is sitting in with us for a few minutes. This is Real Talk with Chip Washington. Glad you have made us, given us a few minutes of your time. Beverly, there seems to be a lot of energy in the city now. I mean, in terms of construction, the big projects happening, you see skyscrapers everywhere. You have to feel pretty good about all this. You've been here for a while. What do you see? What do you think in terms of the economic development landscape of the city these days?
Well, I feel the energy, and if anybody is either in downtown, midtown, Orange Mound, even in the Raleigh area, you see economic development being pushed out into your communities. I mean, there's a whole effort afoot to do some stuff in neighborhoods. Orange Mound is one of those. You look at what's going on around the Raleigh Springs Mall area, that whole area is being redeveloped. There are companies that are locating and expanding in that Mall of Memphis area. So it's not just the development that's going on in downtown. People are realizing that if it's not local, where I live, I'm not gonna feel it. So there's got to be efforts that go on in pockets all across the city. And what I see that you don't see is that developers are coming in Memphis from Nashville, Tennessee, because there's no more development opportunities there. But they're coming here to start building and developing and growing our economic development, building on our ecosystem here. When you look at Union Road and all the jobs that they're creating, the $1 billion investment downtown at St. Jude, you look at FedEx Logistics locating to downtown. You look at these young urban intellectuals coming in from cities all across the country because they love living downtown. They don't want to necessarily buy a house. They want to ride around on scooters. They don't want a car. They want things close. They want to participate in the festivals and entertainment. They want to be where the hip people are. And Memphis is fast becoming the city that we always thought it could be 20 years ago. It is becoming just that kind of city.
All right. So I'm gonna let you go here in a minute, but before I do, I just want you to know that whatever you decide, if you ever decide to run for something, I voted for you at least 3 or 4 times. She's got my vote. I'm in. I'm all in.
You don't have to worry about me. I'm not running.
I'm all in. I'm all in.
I just want to help Memphis realize and become the manifestation of what we have all hoped for in our lives. And I want people who have been outside of work, people who have been counted down and counted out, people who are ex-offenders who are trying to get back into the marketplace but don't know how to get their records expunged or get their credentials. We've got to help them too, because if not, they'll end up committing another crime. So we've got to get them in this pipeline so they can get jobs and take care of themselves and their families. That's what we have got to do.
Well, I got to tell you something. As a role model, as a trailblazer, you said you're the first African American and female to ever head this major organization here in this town that is really responsible for the future of the city. It sounds like you have a plan in place, and it sounds like you're ready to roll, and you're holding all of us accountable as we should be.
Yes, indeed. And I'm expecting those folks out there who don't have jobs and who don't have skills, but they need to develop some skills. You need to come to the Pipkin building on the 30th of October. And you can come at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. We're going to have vendors there for you. We got more than 60 companies that will be hiring on that date, all the way up and down the skill ladder.
So that's next Wednesday, the 30th of October at the Pipkin building.
Yeah.
It's a big job fair.
Yes, sir.
And what time
I think it starts at 10, but you need to be there about 8 so you can get prepared so that you can get in line for a job. Bring your resumes. They're going to be interviewing there's 6 divisions from FedEx, and their jobs are up and down the scale, and they are going to be there. And we've got 60 companies coming, but we got 20 that want to come. And we just don't have room for them. But we're going to do a virtual job fair online at the chamber for those folks who didn't have a chance to access job opportunities. We're going to have them online as well.
will you keep us informed as to what's going on?
I will.
And I'm gonna have you back one.
I will.
Too.
I will.
This is this is why I told you this is my queen too. Look at
Look.
my control room's thumbs up in there.
Look, this is important.
This is important.
This is important because if we want to change the trajectory of Memphis, we got to make sure that a rising tide floats all boats.
That's right.
And that those folks that have been at the bottom can be elevated.
That's right.
They've got to be elevated in order for all of us to rise.
Let the church say amen.
Yes, sir.
Let the church say
amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Beverly Robinson, President and CEO of the Memphis Chamber. We are going to take a break right now, Dirty, and we're going to reset. I just have to just find a collection plate or something to get to. I'm all hyped
Open
up.
the doors of the church.
Open the door. The doors of the show are open. This is Real Talk with Chip Washington. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Chip.
You are just, golly.
It's what I believe,
Baby girl.
It's what I believe. You hear me?
Yeah, we're gonna take a picture before you get out of here.
Okay.
You know, you got to be on mine. You got yours, you want mine.
I'll take yours.
It's what I believe.
Hey, people.
Beverly.
When I was young, Raleigh used to be a bustling middle class.
Yes, sir. It did. It
And
did.
all of a sudden,
Same thing with Orange Mound.
Orange Mound. Man, David Street was the place I loved to be. All right, 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. All right.
They're beginning to expand now out into our communities with it, and that's what's
You
necessary.
need to spend money, and people need to, because if they're working, they're not. You don't have time for nefarious actions.
No, they do not. If you got a job and you're trying to take care of your family, shoot,
Appreciate
you focused on that.
I love you.
You trying to get some sleep?
Anytime.
Tell Aaron I said, hey, you got.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Look, you guys take care.
We gonna
And
do
thanks
it.
for asking.
Absolutely. I
And
want you
I'm
back.
glad. You can get me back anytime.
Okay, thank
You
you.
just call.
I will. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Now.
Where am I on the guest list? Come on in. How y'all doing? Come on in. Come on in. Come on in.
Thank you.
I'm Chip. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Finally.
How you doing?
Hello.
What's your name?
Chamberlain.
Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You sit there. You sit here.
Okay.
And we only got a pair of headphones that works, but you can have these. You can
Okay.
use these. And we just gonna talk a little bit
All
about
right.
some stuff about this. I took some notes on this breast cancer deal, and I'm telling you, boy, it's still a big thing.
It is. It really is. It really is. There's never too many, avenues that offer, just any type of donations or you can hear
Hold
me.
your mic. That mic works too, right?
Yeah, it's blood.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm not out of particular.
All right.
But yeah, it's
Squeeze in a loop. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Just a loop, because I want to make sure everybody sees everybody. Okay, there you go. That's good. Going to just let it play for a minute. All right. Is it, and what's your first name?
you can call me Alex.
Alex.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And your last name is?
Anderson.
Anderson. Alex Anderson. All right, here we go. And welcome back to Real Talk on this Monday, the 21st day of October 2019. I am your host, Chip Washington. This is Real Talk, and we had some Real Talk a few minutes ago. If you missed it, Beverly Robinson was here, the president and CEO of the Memphis Chamber of Commerce, and she talked about some very exciting things that are coming up in the city. Now, let me do some housekeeping things here. If you're watching us, you are watching us live. We are streaming on YouTube live right now. And if you don't get a chance to see the show, you can also go to, I'm going to share this on my Facebook page. So go to my Facebook page and you'll be able to, I'm going to upload the show there and you'll be able to see what you missed. But why would you want to miss a show like this? And of course, there's always an opportunity for you to call in, to chat with us about whatever it is that's on your mind. We're going to be talking about Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is, did you notice I was wearing pink? So I went pink. I got the pink thing going today, see, because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and pink is the color. But anyway, if you want to call and talk about any of this, the number to call is 901-452 3094, 901-452-3094. You can call us and you can chat with us. And I have a couple of very special guests in the studio with me right now. Alex Anderson is the CEO and founder of an organization that is really dedicated to helping to one day hopefully find a cure for breast cancer.
Yes.
And it's Pretty Meat Pink.
Pretty Meat Pink.
I got it right.
Yes,
Pretty
you
Meat
did.
Pink. Listen
Yes.
to that. Yeah, and it's a big event that she has. It's the second year she's had it. And we're going to talk all about it in a few minutes. And also we have someone here who is a survivor. Tell everybody your name. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names.
I'm Jamberlyn Voss, 3-year survivor.
Jamberlyn Voss, okay, and then she is a survivor, and we're glad that you survived.
Yes.
We're gonna talk a little bit about all that as well. Now, as I was doing my homework for the show, I was kind of checking out some statistics, which make me sad when I see things like that. 1 in 8, can develop breast cancer in their lifetime, and there's probably somewhere close to 265 to 270,000 new cases this year alone. And also a subject that we don't necessarily associate with this, men get breast cancer too.
Right, yes, definitely.
And I saw that there would be close to 2,700 men, new cases of breast cancer that will affect men as well.
Right.
And like almost 42,000 women could die this year, as a result of this dreaded disease. And 85, now this is the part that really kind of gets me, and it always has. But then it always tells me that doctors have no clue about the human body. That 85% of breast cancer situations occur with no family history of breast cancer or any kind of cancer. It can just sort of form one day, I guess, with age and other things. And it really is, it's crazy. But I guess my question to you, Alex, is what was it that made you decide that you went, because you're young.
Yeah,
and to get into this, I guess did it touch you personally in some type of way?
Yeah, it did. So of course, as I shared with the social media community recently, my grandfather passed, not specifically with breast cancer, but with colon cancer, general cancer.
Sure.
And just with the 2.5 years that he had been impacted and he had been diagnosed with it, just seeing, in the forefront what he had to deal with on a day-to-day basis, the chemotherapy, just the routine checkups, all those things that kind of coincide with him having to deal with this epidemic, kind of really touched me from a personal standpoint and made me want to dig deeper.
Sure.
To help others who are not only impacted per se, dealing with the disease personally, but also, from the outside, as far as family members being affected by it as well. So mainly the purpose of this event is not only to just help those who have been impacted by it and just from a physical standpoint, but also to find a beauty behind just, celebrating breast cancer and those who are survivors and those who have helped to actually help those who have been impacted as well. So
it's I consider that a calling. I really do, because obviously you're reaching out, you're trying to help other folks, who have been touched by this disease, and by our friend over here. And can you, if you don't mind, talking to us a little bit about your story, in terms of, how you found out and what you had to go through and things like that.
Well, it was just a routine breast cancer checkup, mammogram yearly. And when I went for my checkup, they saw something, so immediately called me back in 2 weeks to do a diagnostic, which they look farther into it. And I kind of knew, but you're always in denial, because when I went in for the diagnostic, they had the x-ray on the wall so you could kind of see the spot.
Right.
So they did the diagnostic, and again 2 weeks later they called me back to do a extensive look inside to pull tissue to see, and it was breast cancer. As it looked as if the spot was, and it did come back breast cancer.
So you were diagnosed, and the day, when that happens, I guess they immediately start talking about some type of treatment.
Right. The next step was to go to the surgeon to see what the next step was, and I did a mastectomy, a lumpectomy, which just removed the lump. I had to do chemo and also radiation. And so I had 16 treatments of chemo and 30 days of radiation.
How long ago was this?
This was in 2016 when I was first diagnosed.
Just a few years ago.
Yes.
Okay, so did that treatment that you had, did that put everything in remission for you?
Yes,
or?
I'm in remission right now.
Okay, how you feeling?
I feel great. You still have a little side effects here and there, but overall I feel great and truly blessed.
Now, you know, I hope that this, if you're paying attention to the show, I hope that if you have been a victim or even a survivor of this, that you'll give us a call and tell us your story, because I always believe that, you know, what people learn and they grow from the stories that they hear. And I think that maybe some folks are feeling a certain kind of way about it. You know, I have cancer, or it was me and this and that. But you can survive this, and you know, but we need to know exactly, you know, what it is that you went through. That's why I urge folks to call 4523094 is our number. If you have if you have had breast cancer, if you've been treated for breast cancer, you know, and you have a story to tell, you know, we would love to hear the story. Now, talk to me a little bit about the event that you have. This is the second year you had it.
Yes, it's the second year.
So tell us what we can expect. This is this Saturday.
Yes, it is this Saturday. It's going to be starting right at 12 noon.
Okay.
The location is actually a beautiful, beautiful venue. It's one of the most incredible jewels in downtown Memphis.
Okay.
It's called the Bells Museum of Judaic and Asian Art, and it houses almost over about 100 foreign, unique exhibits there through the Asian and the historic Judaic times. Alongside with that, we did add a few things as well that we didn't have last year, which I'm really excited about. We're going to have the Young Actors Guild that's going to be performing there live, which is going to be incredible. I've seen them live before, but just to have them there is going to be an awesome treat for those who haven't gotten to experience what they do out in the community. As well, we are going to be showcasing my sister here, Miss Voss, and also the owner and CEO of Pink Savvy Incorporated, who also is a breast cancer survivor as well, which is very unique, Latoya Dodson. We're going to do a fashion show actually, you know, showing them you know, whatever fashions we have available there. And then also, of course, our art that is there is going to be to your exposure to actually, you know, get a chance to see what the museum is all about. So I'm very excited about it.
So it's a museum, right?
Yes, it is a museum.
Now, you can shop, right? I mean, but if
Oh,
you're
yeah,
shopping for,
yeah.
is this for, what kind of things can they expect in terms of that?
So there are going to be more than 40 vendors there.
40 vendors?
40 vendors. Last year we had about 25 in our first event. So we're very excited to double this year. We have everything from arts and crafts, gifts, food items, anything that you can think of. You name it, it's there. And also we will have an auction there, a silent auction where you can win prizes. It's going to kind of be like a raffle ticket auction, and most of those funds that are coming from buying those tickets are actually going to go towards the nonprofit organizations that we are partnering with this year. One of them being Pink Savvy Incorporated, and also Sisters Network of Memphis as well. And we have partnered with them last year, so they're going to come back and partner with us again this year.
So these are organizations that deal with folks who dealt with
Yes, with breast
issues,
cancer.
right? So
Yes.
all the proceeds go to that.
All the proceeds go to both organizations.
Okay, well
Yes.
that's a wonderful thing. I mean, you know, to be able to give back, and if I may, I want to double back with you a little bit in terms of this. When you first realized that there may have been a problem or something, you know, something wasn't quite right, something was amiss, and you went to the doctor and they confirmed it. Talk about the emotions that you go through initially behind things like this, because I think that there's really a shock factor that you have to get past in order to move forward. Talk a little, if you don't mind, talk a little bit about that.
It is. It's really a shock factor. You never want to go to the doctor and hear the word cancer.
Right.
So when I first found out, well, when I first saw it, the doctor takes your general doctor to call you back. So I was like, no one had called me back after the third time I went after every 2 weeks. So I was like, well, you know what? No news is good news. I don't want to know.
Right.
And so I had a friend that was with me during that time, and she had been diagnosed with breast cancer. And she said, girl, you need to know. I said, well, they don't call me. I'm not going to call them. I'm good. No news is good news.
Right.
So she said, well, I'm going to call for you. I said, okay, here's my social security card number. Here's my birthday. Here's my full name. You can call. So she actually called to find the results, but they couldn't tell. They won't tell you over the phone, so they called my general doctor because they had been another 2 weeks. And they called, she called, and the doctor is a member of Brown, so she was able to talk to him personally and his wife, and he called me that night and told me that I was definitely positive for breast cancer.
Okay.
And at that point, I didn't want anybody to know. I wanted to kind of deal with it myself,
right,
and to just get those emotions out. I called in a couple of family members and my circle of friends to start praying for me. And it's just that I kept it to myself for a while because I didn't want the pity calls. I needed to deal with it myself first.
How difficult was that for you?
It was very difficult because I've never been sick. I am truly blessed to never been sick, and to get the worst thing that you hear is cancer.
Right.
So that was really devastating to me. But once I opened up, the support system is awesome, and you cannot get through this without the support system. My class of 88 of Southside did a big celebration, bought t-shirts, and did the walk with me. So once I opened up, Brown Baptist has an awesome cancer support group. So once I opened up and got to the point where I was, people found out, and I was telling, the support is what you need to make it through. That makes the best, that makes you make it through and survive.
I was gonna say, I've been to a lot of events of breast cancer, the walk that they have every year, and just being a part of some of these situations. And what you see is, it's not just a sisterhood, it's just like in every hood. It's a brotherhood. You have husbands there, you have children there, you have your like you said, your female friends there, your family, your colleagues. And it really, I think even though you may have it, everybody sort of feels like they take ownership of it, don't they? Talk a little bit about that type of emotion that goes into something.
Well, on my own perspective, being a family member and the caregiver, per se, to one who has experienced cancer, you do, experience a lot of emotion, and a lot of psychological, mental, emotional situations, not really from a physical standpoint dealing with it, and it always does help, just like Ms. Voss does say, to have someone who understands what it's like to be in that situation and not feel like you are by yourself in that, and it always helps to kind of talk about it, release whatever you feel about it. And then also, to make sure that you have people or family that would, alongside help you as well, because with my grandmother being, the caregiver, the sole caregiver, the primary caregiver at the time, she was having to deal with, all the responsibilities of taking care of her husband,
right,
and anything that he had to do in terms of responsibilities around the house,
right,
she had to take over. So just having family there, and friends and co-workers and community, there to actually be on board and be on side with you, it really does help from not just from the physical standpoint, but from mental, emotional standpoint. Yes, definitely.
Right, absolutely. And so I really wanted to have you here because I want folks to embrace this. I mean, this is something that happens every year, but I mean, honestly, if it hasn't touched you, it will. It's touched me. I've had cancer in my family. I mean, and lost some very good friends and family members as well. So I understand the dynamics of it. A lot of people may not, because they may not have been touched by it, but you never know at one point or the other when that's going to happen to you.
Right.
And so I think that's a very, very important component. Before I let you go, I want you to tell everybody again what the event is this weekend, the day, the time, and everything else that goes on.
Absolutely. So it's going to be this Saturday, October the 26th, starting at 12. We're going to end everything at 4 p.m.
Okay.
That is a Pretty Me Pink Expo live downtown Memphis at the Bells Museum of Judaic and Asian Art. The location is 119 South Main Street.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
119 South Main Street. Well, look, you want to get your shop on, you want to, and then you want to do it and then you want to help with a good cause. This is where you need to be. And I want to thank you both for taking some time out of your schedules to come talk to us about this, because I know that the folks out here are listening. And hopefully, you know, that someone has been helped by some of the words that have been said. The inspiration and the support is always there. Okay, and so don't feel like you're ever alone in a situation like this. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about a couple of more things. As a matter of fact, college basketball is coming up, and I have an interview with Penny Hardaway locked away here somewhere, and we're going to do all that and close the show out on this Monday. Right after this, you're listening to Real Talk. I'm Chip Washington. We'll be right back. Thank y'all so much.
It's a pleasure.
You know, I'm always gonna support what I can support.
Yes.
This stuff, I really. Your husband looks really familiar. Y'all was Brown.
We were originally from Brown. He was the youth pastor there for some years.
Tell your husband I say hello. He
Okay,
knows me.
yes.
I know him too. I know him. God bless you. Good
God
to
bless
see
you
you. All right, we're
too.
gonna
Thank you again.
Come on, let's take a picture. We always take pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I kept looking at that. I said to my wife, I said, I know him. I said, I know that face. And I said, there's a Brown thing going on here.
And look, he was like, I see he's trying to be my friend. He took a mine on Facebook. I was like, he should have did that a long time ago.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
You got that one right. Okay. Because I was going to say it.
All right.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you so much, lady. Appreciate you. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank
Best
you.
of luck. Hey, Dirty. Call up the Penny Hardaway interview that we did. I know you guys need to thank you. Take care of yourself. Y'all be safe now. Y'all got
Safe now.
I didn't hear what you said. What did he say? You got it?
Nah, it's not on the badge. I ain't took it off.
You took it off?
Yeah, because I thought you didn't want it.
No. So we don't have it.
Nah, it's on my computer, but it's not on the badge.
I look really silly now. I thought we had it.
Nah, I had put it up. I had took it off because I had took all that stuff off that you didn't want it.
Doggone it. Hey, Drill, where's Drill?
Right, Joe?
Drill, come in here. Since we got some time to fill now, he don't have my interview. He don't have my interview.
Okay.
Come on, man. You on the show.
Oh,
Ha ha
that's
ha.
funny. But I do it.
All right, I think we're back. I think I hear myself in the monitor here. Okay, so, you know, in the world of technology and things like that, you know, things happen. I know I teased that we had an interview, which I actually did with Penny Hardaway a few weeks back before the season started, because I guess things sort of begin to kick off on this week. I think they played one of the colleges, local colleges.
Yeah, they get ready to rock.
They get ready to rock and roll. This fine young man is Mandrell McLaughlin Jr.
That's right.
And he is not only a good friend of mine in a church and one of our deacons at church.
Yeah.
He teaches he runs the entire audio system at our church. I mean, we have that church being Full View Missionary Baptist Church.
That's right.
And so if anybody's out there listening to my church, the view is in the house right now. So, and Drill has, he spends a lot of time teaching young folks how to do things like this, you know, in terms of, you know, audio engineering and things like that. He's got a wonderful, wonderful heart. And first of all, I want everybody to be able to see him and talk to him for a few minutes and personally say thank you, Drill, for everything you've done to help this show.
Man, you're more than welcome.
Yes,
I enjoy it.
It's a lot of fun.
Get them going.
Yeah.
You know, the Full View Youth Initiative has been going now for 23 years. Pastor Peggs initiated that.
Yeah.
And I came into the fold 15 years ago. Of course, I've been at the church all my life, but as far as working as a building engineer and an audio engineer, the last 15 years, it's been awesome, and we're trying to train up the youngsters and get them going, getting them fit and ready to serve, and they're anxious. I mean, David is awesome. We have Tredaris Melvin, who was very awesome. Ron Watson Jr., Bernard Chambers, he and his brother Leonard, Cordell Griffith. We have a very nice crew, and the youngsters are really, they're really taking a stride and a lift off, and taking some weight off old drill.
Man, well, that's always a good thing. You know, we need to train them up. And you know, once I did this program, and I was trying to figure out who I could get to produce and things. And you and I started talking about it. And
Right.
I know you had been trying to do something outside the walls of the church, and this is the live radio program that we do on each and every week.
Correct.
And young David, and how old is Dirty?
And
19?
Dirty will be 19 next week.
Man, that's what I'm talking about.
We
you
just
know?
talking about that. I'm like, what?
Making it happen. See, so this is what this is all about. For me, it really isn't about me. It's about teaching the next generation, of me's or whoever. That they can do what they want to do, but you have to learn and you have to be diligent, to pick up your trade. Now, as I said earlier in the broadcast, we're doing something a little bit different.
Correct.
Giving some changes in terms of how the dynamics of the show. I know we were doing it on Facebook Live there for a while, but now the station's kind of done some upgrades, and we are streaming live on YouTube.
On YouTube.
And
The link will be posted. It's actually already been posted to your page, so you'll be able, and people will be able just to pull and plug that link, and you'll be able to see the show via Facebook. I mean, it's going to be some powerful content here in these next coming weeks. It has been some powerful content. So the service that you're doing here is commendable, especially with Miss Beverly earlier. I was thoroughly
yeah, she's
impressed.
she's pretty strong, man.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm talking about, man, she's strong as King Kong, baby.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, she's.
so I was thoroughly impressed.
Well, we when I first started to do the show and I tried to get a vision for it, I just want to do things that impact not only folks here in Memphis, but all the way across the country. Breast cancer awareness, that's a national thing, and there are a lot of other things that we have coming down the pike that hopefully now I have been selectively teasing a certain radio station listening and calling group. It's WDIA. I'm calling you out, because they like to call the morning show. I get all that morning, midday, and stuff like that, but they forget.
Where y'all at?
And we have a show here in the evening time too, and it's not a bad show. So I'm challenging the WDIA listener and callers to call this show and just let's engage in some conversation, because you know what, Drew, as quiet as it's kept, people can still talk like afternoon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, your mouth works post 12 p.m. I mean, call them. If you really have something to say, well, we ain't scared. We're not gonna bite you. We want, you need the dialogue for things to get better. I mean, and I appreciate what you do here, because you give people a platform to be able to express how they feel, what they're thinking about, and if people don't express it, it gets repressed. I mean, it's a wonderful thing.
Well, no express, repress, but I've been told by some of the radio pros in this town, it takes a while, Chip. You gotta build, and you gotta build and stuff. And then maybe one day it's gonna happen, who knows? I just hope that my heart is strong enough to be able to take the phone call or two if they decide to call. But yes, sir, I'm calling you out. WDIA callers and listeners, I'm calling you out. And if anybody who's listening to this radio station or watching us right now knows those folks, tell them I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out.
452-3094.
That is the number. Now listen,
That's a North Memphis number. 452 is a North Memphis prefix.
Well, we in North Memphis. So listen, you're a big basketball fan. I know you're a big sports guy. So University of Memphis is about to kick off here next couple of days.
About to hit the court.
Penny has the #1 recruiting class in the nation. They were ranked number 25 in the country. So what do you see in terms of what you've seen so far in terms of how this team is going to do?
Athleticism, youthful exuberance, is yet to see about the chemistry. But what I am excited is that I'm really excited to see them hit the court, because I don't think we have any like prima donnas. I think everybody wants to do, they're super talented, but they also do the dirty work,
Right.
which is very rare. And I want them to not worry about living up to the #1 class and all that. Just play hard, you know. And I think he's gonna coach them. It ain't too much coaching up. You got some real. You can't win the race unless you got the horses.
You got to be in the race. Yeah,
You got to have the horses. I mean, you can have all the best coaching in the world, but nobody's winning the Derby on a donkey.
Okay. I like that. I've stolen that now. I remember that. I've stolen that line. But you know what I did? I did talk to Penny, and he said that. And I asked him. I said, well, you know, you have the #1 recruiting class in the entire nation, and there's a certain pressure that goes along with that. He told me, quote unquote, I like the pressure.
Yeah.
He said, I want the pressure. He said, because I think that'll make him be a better coach. You agree with that?
I agree with that. I mean, and it takes a special person, a special coach, to be aware and to understand that pressure situations, they're either going to make or break you. But there are special people out there that are able to work under pressure. Everybody can't do that. Pressure will make or break you. But I believe with his track record, pressure, hey, he's done more making, you know, than breaking.
Yeah.
You know, with his own career, and even in you know, coaching East. I mean, he's a knowledgeable. His basketball IQ is
Off the charts. It really is. So should we? Okay. So how much pressure should we put on this team, given all the quote unquote hype? Because you know how fans are.
I say, I'm not trying to overload them, but you want to see results. That's why people. But he has done a great part of his job already by, like I said, getting the talent. Now, you can go and look at some of these other teams, and they were highly upset when Anthony Hardaway became the coach.
That's true.
You look at Cal and all these other teams, hey, they didn't want to see him. Because, I mean, if you have Coach Hardaway and Mike and Coach Miller walking into your living room talking about recruiting your child.
It's a big deal.
I mean, and he's proven. His staff is proven. So I'm uber excited. The place is going to be packed. It's going to be electric. Every game.
Yeah, I think he has brought back an excitement to the city that we haven't seen in the last few years with who he's had here. But you know, like you say, native son. Penny's a native son. Folks want to play for him. They seem excited, and I think you're right when you say they seem to be grounded. He won't let them get too high on themselves, will he? I mean, it's about, you can't win not being a team. You got to be a team.
You're gonna have to work together. You know, it's enough ball for everybody. And everybody's gonna, you know, and he's real good at assigning these roles. You know, and basketball is a constantly evolving sport.
Right.
You know, especially at the collegiate level, it's still an athletic competition. You know, it's not a lot of an overlay of politics. These youngsters, they want to play, they want to win, and that's the difference in what I see. Is I see a lot of youngsters that play ball. They're more concerned about the aesthetics of it. Hey man, give me a set of kids that want to win. And we can go to war.
We can do it. We can do it. About 2 minutes out. One last thing about this whole Memphis sports thing. Our college football team doing great.
Yeah, doing pretty good.
Basketball is about to light it up. Man, it should be a pretty nice and interesting time the next couple of years.
Yeah, and the Grills are going to be okay. You know,
it's gonna take them a minute. They're young.
It's gonna take them a minute. They're young, and it's the NBA. That Ja kid is uber athletic. I mean, it has been rumored that he might be the most athletic, especially the most athletic newcomer in the league. They are likening him to Russell Westbrook, and I'm like, hey, look now, you know, the youngster just let him. He hadn't played a full game yet. Take it easy. But I'm gonna tell you something. For that size and that, I like that. I like tenacity. I like just downright. Now that's Memphis.
It is Memphis.
Downright. We're gonna take it right to your doorstep and knock on the door.
Man.
So we'll see. I'm really excited about it.
Man, I'm happy that you decided to spend a couple minutes with me here today, because I'm all fired up. You know, Beverly fired me up in the first thing. But again, one more time now, we are streaming live on YouTube. And we want to build an audience, and if you like what you hear, if you like what you see, well, not so much what you see, but what you hear, please tell a friend, tell someone, because I am trying to build something here for all of us, not for me. This is not for me.
And that's the YouTube of WMQM 1600 AM. which is
That's
a
right. That's it.
powerhouse AM radio station.
50,000 watts of power here for WMQM AM 1600 on the YouTube page. And like I said, Drill said he has got the link there. So if you want to, we're going to share it to my Facebook page, or you can, however it works. Yeah, I guess it'll be on my Facebook page, but however it is, you'll be able to see it in both forms. But I want to say thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your encouraging words and your support. And always love each other, take care of each other, and man, look, I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. And thank you for being here. If the Lord says so, we'll be here again next week, same time, same channel. Until then, I'm Chip, and I'm out.
Real talk. Good show.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, thank you, man, for coming in, man.
Come on now, I don't know, riding side saddle.
Are we off, Dave?
I'm never scared of
Huh?
no mic.
Yeah.
Okay. Drill, thank you for that, man.
Come on, bro. Let me stop.